guys see this?
You good?
Anyways, you said this looks like an arrow.
Yeah.
Carly!
One guy got distracted for just a few seconds and ended up in the water. Another looked back on a trail and saw a grizzly already watching him. These are real camping encounters caught on camera, and some of them didn't have to end the way they did. How close is too close before you finally walk away? Hayes is someone who genuinely enjoys spending time outside. He runs a channel called Hayes Outdoors and regularly shares videos of his camping trips, venturing into mountains, forests, and other hard-to-reach places. Over the years, he's grown a loyal following, and watching his content can honestly teach you quite a bit about surviving and thriving in the wild. But this particular video, uploaded on March 24th, 2026, stands out because it captures just how fast things can go wrong, even for someone who knows what they're doing. The video opens on a pretty relaxed note. He's just sitting there, reading through comments from his audience, completely at ease, with no idea what's about to happen next.
What's the best method of kicking your ass to actually get out? I've never regretted going camping once, but for some reason really have to drag myself out. I've no idea why. Because it's easier to stay in. Everything's designed to keep you in. Easy food, easy life, and that's how they want it, mate. They want you knackered, and they want you staying in and not doing anything. And what you've got to do, mate, is prove them wrong. Stick it to yourself as well, because no one deserves to kick your ass as much as you do.
But as he kept engaging with those comments, his attention drifted away from his immediate surroundings. That brief lapse in focus led directly to an accident, one that could have turned out much, much worse.
You know, if you're like, I can't be bothered, mate. Shit! Oh my God, I think I've broke my arm. Oh my God, I think I've broke my arm. Oh my God. Oh, ow, ow, ow. Where's my camera gone? Oh no, where's the mic? Mic's still there, you can hear me. Mate, I think I've broke my arm, and I was lucky that I didn't land on my head then. I could have been dead. Mate, I've just fallen down that cliff and landed there. My arm is haggard and I've lost my camera. So I can't see it. Don't know if it's landed in water and gone off end at waterfall, or whether it's on there somewhere on that cliff as I fell down. That was violent, that was violent. I don't know, my elbow feels absolutely knackered, mate. It's all gone tingly. If I'd have come down there at a different angle, mate, I would have been dead. And as I was falling, I didn't even know whether I was going down big bit.
Fortunately, he came out of it okay and didn't actually suffer a broken arm. But honestly, the situation had every reason to go sideways in a serious way. Had he landed on his head, the outcome could have been fatal. And given that he ended up in the water, any injury serious enough to limit his movement could have led to drowning right there on the spot. It's a clear reminder of how a single moment of inattention in the outdoors can spiral into something life-threatening. 1 second, everything is fine, and the next, you're dealing with something you might not walk away from. It wasn't even a major fall, and that's honestly the most unsettling part. Something that small can turn deadly in an instant if you land the wrong way. So stay sharp out there. No matter how much experience you have, the natural world has a way of catching you off guard when you least expect it. Experience doesn't make you immune. It just means you've been lucky more times than most. What do you think actually keeps people alert when they're out there alone? The video was posted to an Instagram account called PashaBrill9. According to Pasha, the whole thing started with a simple, almost embarrassing mistake. He was driving through a forested area when his tire caught a sharp branch on the road. The result was a flat tire and no way to move, stranded on a completely empty road surrounded by trees. He started recording everything on his phone, with some additional footage pulling from his dash cam. In the beginning, his tone was pretty lighthearted, almost laughing the situation off. No spare tire, no cell signal, no other people anywhere nearby. just the trees and the light gradually fading around him. After a while, he managed to get a brief signal and reached out to a friend.
Колесо спущено. За час, который я здесь нахожусь, ни одна машина не проехала. Единственное, что меняется в этой ситуации, то, что начинает темнеть.
The friend agreed to come, but the drive was roughly 4 hours out. That's when the footage starts to shift. The early clips are unremarkable. He's just killing time, talking to the camera, moving around the car. But once the forest went completely dark, the atmosphere changed. There was something moving in the bushes.
Что это за херня была?
At first it read as a typical animal, something darting across the road that he figured was probably a dog or local wildlife. Then he noticed the eyes, bright red, catching the dark and holding it. The figure stopped in the middle of the road, faced him directly, then disappeared into another section of the forest. He went still. The creature was moving on all fours, but the proportions felt wrong, the body dark and nearly bare, and the way it moved didn't match anything familiar. Instead of staying put and waiting for his friend, he made a call he'd come to regret. He went into the forest after it.
Работает.
Through the trees, those same red eyes kept showing up, always at a distance, always retreating but never fully gone. At one point, the creature slipped behind a tree and simply wasn't there anymore, as if it had gone straight up or dissolved into the dark entirely. After that, all he could do was re-watch the footage and try to figure out what he actually saw. The simplest explanation is a wild animal with eyes catching the light in a weird way. But other theories floating around are a lot darker. The chupacabra, the rake, skinwalkers. Sometimes there's a perfectly normal answer, and sometimes the footage just doesn't support one. Would you have stayed in the car or followed it? On February 15th, 2025, the YouTube channel Carly HD posted a video that opened like a completely ordinary vlog, but slowly turned into something neither of them saw coming. The channel typically covers lighthearted and occasionally unsettling content, but this one landed differently. In the video, Carly and her mother headed into the wooded area behind their house to investigate what had been going after their ducks. Several of the birds had already been killed over the previous few days. As they made their way down a narrow path, the tone was relaxed. They chatted about the ducks, laughed with each other, and pointed out spots where their security cameras had picked up movement after dark. But the further in they went, the more certain details started to feel off. Carly brought up that the last time she had been back there, she had noticed what appeared to be doll heads left out among the trees. It had seemed like a strange coincidence at the time, but standing there again, the whole area carried a different feeling. Then they spotted something on the ground that made them both stop. Moving closer, it became clear it was not an animal.
But this is weird. Okay, so how many trees are down?
Like 4, 5, 6. Oh, that's freaky. Yeah.
Huh.
It was a small doll head, half buried under dead leaves. They tried to play it off and keep things light, but as they pressed further in, the surroundings kept getting stranger. The trees nearby were bent and twisted in ways that were hard to attribute to anything natural, which only deepened the unease. Then Carly noticed something else on the ground that she was certain had not been there moments before.
Is that a rat? Did the raccoon kill a rat?
What is that?
I don't know. I don't want to touch it. Oh!
Drop it!
What?
Drop that.
A second doll turned up, and the way it was positioned made it feel less like something that had ended up there by accident. The mood shifted. They went back and forth about whether to pick it up or leave it, and it became increasingly clear that neither of them felt at ease staying any longer. But the dolls ended up not being the most unsettling thing they found.
Anyways, you said this looks like an arrow.
Yeah.
Carly! We're not alone here. Focus, girl. You're too focused on that tree. What is this? Where did that come from? That wasn't there before. Did the doll do this? We got rid of all the dolls.
No, the other doll.
Well, the ones over here?
Yeah.
Okay, fine. We'll leave it over here.
Mom, it's going to be possessed and haunted. We're going to leave it right here. Drop it.
Okay.
Drop it.
I will.
As they turned to head back, they came across one last detail that stopped them cold. Spread across the ground were bright red feathers.
Oh no, something. Do you see what I see?
No.
Do you see all those red feathers? Oh, there's a bird. Something died here. All this weirdness. Okay, we are out of here. Looks like a little cardinal. What?
I think there's blood down there.
What the heck is going on? Why are all these tree branches all weird like this and bent? Was a bird sacrificed to the evil dolls? Okay, this is way too creepy. Okay. You stay here and we're going.
Scattered in a pattern that pointed to something having been killed there recently. That was enough. They decided not to push any further into the woods. But even after walking out, the questions didn't go away. Whether everything they had come across was just an odd string of coincidences, or whether someone had deliberately put it all there. If you had been the one walking through those woods, would you have kept going or turned back the moment you saw the first doll? On January 17th, 2023, the YouTube channel Ultra Studios posted a video documenting what was supposed to be a straightforward trip into the woods. The creator had put the outing together with a friend named GT, and the energy at the start was loose and easygoing as they introduced the area they were heading into. As they pushed further in, the tone started to change. It was gradual at first. They came across various objects on the ground, empty bottles, old garbage, the kind of stuff that on its own doesn't necessarily signal anything. But the further they walked, the quieter everything got, and the trail became less and less defined. Then, somewhere along a narrow stretch of path, they came across something that didn't belong. An object, partially out of sight, positioned in a way that felt out of place compared to everything around it. The creator paused to take a closer look, not sure what to make of it. It seemed odd, but nothing more than that, at least for another few steps. Deeper in a more secluded section of the forest, the creator spotted something on the ground up ahead. It didn't immediately read as anything recognizable, not a branch, not typical debris. He moved closer, and then the shape came into focus all at once.
Whoa, what the hell? That's a f***ing human skull! That's a f***ing human skull right there! What the actual f***? Bro, do you guys see this? There's a human head here! Dude, that looks real. Dude, I don't think that's a prop. That looks f***ing real. I thought it was like a ball at first. That's f***ing real. Oh no, bro, that is so creepy!
The reaction was instant. Neither of them had any interest in staying. They pulled back from the area immediately, and both agreed without much discussion that the exploration was over. They moved out of the forest fast, and the weight of what they had just seen didn't lift once they were clear of the trees. The creator kept turning it over, thinking about the skull and what could have possibly led to it being there. Based on everything available, no follow-up video was ever posted. There's no public record of what the skull turned out to be, and it's unclear whether anyone ever reported the find to authorities. Most finds like this have a simple explanation. This one never got one. What would you have done if you were there? Monotone Adventures is a guy who spends his time biking and fishing across western Pennsylvania and Maryland, and he built his channel around footage he captures during those rides. The video in question was something he felt compelled to post, specifically to bring attention to situations like the one he found himself in. It was July 2015. He was moving through a wooded stretch along a scenic road when he noticed a woman on the side of the road who looked like she was in serious distress. He rode past it first, but something made him reconsider. It felt like more than he initially read it as, so he turned around to check on her.
So this girl, I didn't know. She looked like she was not okay. Make sure she is okay. You good? What's going on?
I'm really afraid of my boyfriend back. He's kicking things and threatening to burn my bag.
Do you want me to take you somewhere? Alright. Is he driving?
He's been arrested before.
Okay. Where do you live?
I live in Tennessee.
Tennessee. I'll take you into town.
Yeah, I just need a hotel or something.
Alright. Here. Put this on.
My family lives in DC, so they're only 2 hours away. I'm so sorry.
No, it's fine. Here.
I'm just gonna turn it off.
I'll hold that. Give her your jacket.
Huh?
Give her your jacket.
Well, we're not going that way. Put that on.
He's walking on the platform.
I know, he was trying to call me to get me to go back, and when I said I was too scared, he was like, I'm just gonna burn your fucking bag.
It's fine. Put that on. Is it big enough? Alright, go ahead.
The woman was in tears. She told him she had fled from her boyfriend, who had turned violent and was making threats against her. The biker didn't deliberate for long. Leaving her out there alone, in the middle of the woods, with someone like that potentially still in the area, wasn't something he was willing to do. He handed over his helmet and made the call to get her to the nearest town, somewhere she could get her footing and find a way to safety.
Put this hand down around my waist. Around my waist.
Sorry?
Have you been on a bike before?
No.
No, okay. I won't say it. Scoot back a tad. Is there foot bags back there? See the foot bags?
Yeah.
Put your feet right on there.
You want to call your parents?
They're in England. My grandparents are in DC.
You want to call them? So we can have them meet us in Unexplained or something. That takes you out from DC.
Well, I mean, I'll just wait there. It's going to be 2 hours.
Yeah.
Try to call them here.
Do you want to try calling them?
Any attempt to track down what happened after that came up empty. There are no confirmed updates on whether the bikers kept in contact with her, or what became of the situation with her boyfriend. What's harder to dispute is that their decision to stop and act almost certainly changed how things played out for her. Isolated, with a dangerous person potentially searching nearby, the alternative endings aren't hard to picture, and none of them are good. Hopefully the creator comes across this someday and fills in what happened next. It's also worth sitting with the broader point the video raises. Choosing to help someone in a moment like that can genuinely matter. At the same time, these situations aren't always straightforward, and there are documented cases where people in distress have been used as part of a setup. Staying alert and reading the situation carefully isn't the same as turning away. It's just being smart about how you help. Most people in danger just need someone to stop, but knowing when it's safe to stop is its own skill. If you had been on that road and seen her, what would you have done? A YouTube channel called Salongse Naga uploaded a video on November 16, 2025, documenting a deep forest expedition that ended with a find none of them were prepared for. The channel tends to cover remote spots, hidden caves, and off-the-map locations, but what they walked into this time was on a different level entirely. At the top of the video, the creator laid out the plan. They were heading into a dense jungle to check out a location that had a reputation among locals, a place tied to unusual stories and accounts that had been circulating in the area for some time. That was enough to pull them in. As the group moved further into the forest, the going got harder fast. The jungle closed in around them, the vegetation was thick, and there was no real trail to follow. The deeper they pushed, the more cut off from everything they felt. After a while of pressing through, they started picking up on faint signs that people had come through before them. Partial footprints, shifted ground cover, things sitting where they probably shouldn't have been. They followed what little trail there was until they reached a cave.
अंदर का नजारा दिखा देता हूँ यहाँ पर.
Standing at the entrance, the darkness inside felt like it was pulling the light inward. Water dripped from somewhere above, the sound bouncing off uneven stone walls. They went in anyway. With each step forward, the passage tightened, the ceiling dropped, and the light outside became a memory. They were running entirely on what they had brought with them when they spotted the first bones on the ground.
हड्डी तो किला है. क्या चीज का हड्डी है भाई? स्टेक लगा हड्डी. स्टेक लाना. तो ये तो गुड प्राइस. अच्छा, तुम शिकांदा है वो तो ना? ये हंडे.
They paused, but not for long. Going deeper meant working through rougher terrain and a less defined path, but they kept moving until they reached a second cave. Before they even stepped inside, the smell hit them, and once they crossed the threshold, it was immediately clear why the locals had always spoken about this place the way they did.
Oh, starting. ये एंडरिंग है. यहाँ पर भी पड़ा हुआ है. ये तो किमान साल ला हुआ है.
17th century होगा तो
17th century ला.
होगा तो
पापा.
इतिहास 21 ऐसे.
ये तो बहुत ही बड़ा है भाई. बहुत. ये पूरा भरा हुआ है. यहाँ पे. यहाँ पर. शायद ये पत्थर ऊपर से गिर के टूटाया होगा. इतना बड़ा है.
The chamber was filled with human skeletal remains. Skulls and bones lined the walls, and the arrangement wasn't random. The placement carried a deliberateness that pointed to something intentional. According to local knowledge, the site had served as a burial space for generations. The practice involved allowing the body to decompose in place, after which the bones were gathered and transferred into the caves for permanent keeping.
चलो अंदर तक घुस के देखते. लग रहा है.
देखो.
पूर्वज लोग नाराज मत करना. यदि तो अरे यदि भी खुशी से तो खुशी वो
सब है ये साबित. कुछ के देखो. यदि भी ऐसे ना.
उसे तो तमोर दिखी ऐसे यदि देखता.
The further they looked, the more they found. But they kept themselves from pushing all the way in, aware that the cave itself might not hold. The weight of the place settled over everything. Eventually, they made the call to turn around. The forest outside was losing its light, and none of them felt right about staying longer. Places like this exist in more parts of the world than most people realize, quietly holding on to history that never made it into any official record. What would you have done if you had been the one to walk into that cave? Carson Bender is a 19-year-old hunter from Wisconsin who caught something on camera that had every reason to end much worse than it did. He was positioned on private land near Nakusa, running what looked like a textbook turkey hunt. Decoys were set out in a hayfield, birds were gobbling from multiple directions, and several were already working their way toward him. Everything was falling into place exactly as planned. Then something shifted. Not wanting to turn around and spook the birds, Bender raised his phone and flipped on the camera to see what was going on behind him. That's when he saw it. A bobcat, estimated at around 25 pounds, moving toward him in a slow, deliberate creep. The animal had clearly locked onto what it thought was a manageable target. For nearly a full minute, it held its position, studying him, working out what it was actually looking at. Then it committed. The cat lunged, made contact with his arm, and just as fast, Bender threw it off. The bobcat turned and disappeared back into the tree line. Wildlife specialists note that bobcats can be drawn in by turkey calls, but physical contact with a human is genuinely uncommon. In most cases, the animal picks up on something wrong and pulls back before it ever gets that close. This one didn't. Bender walked away without serious injury, which, given what just happened, is the part that's hard to fully process. What would you have done if you had looked back and seen it coming? On July 13, 2019, the YouTube channel William Smith posted a video documenting a tense and deeply unsettling encounter with wildlife during a solo hike through the hills. The channel typically features casual outdoor footage and personal adventures, but this particular upload was in a different category entirely. At the start of the video, William was making his way along a narrow path cut into a hillside, with steep drops on one side and open wilderness stretching out around him. The trail was completely empty. No other hikers, no noise, nothing. That changed fast when he caught movement up ahead. A large shape was standing directly on the path in front of him. As he closed the distance, it became clear what he was looking at. A grizzly bear, specifically identified as a glacier grizzly. The recognition was immediate, and so was the fear. For a stretch of time, neither of them moved. The bear stood its ground, watching. William held still, then began slowly backing up, keeping his movements calm and deliberate, doing nothing that might read as a threat.
No, hey! Go on.
The bear didn't advance, and then, without warning, it stepped behind the terrain and vanished from sight. That disappearance didn't bring any relief.
No! No!
If anything, it made things worse. Not being able to see it meant not knowing where it was. William didn't relax his guard for a second. He reached down, picked up 2 stones, and held them as he walked, tapping them together in a steady rhythm to push sound out ahead of him and let the bear know he was still there.
He's gonna bum rush my ass from up there. Wouldn't that be awesome?
He scanned both sides of the hillside with every step, watching for any shift in the brush or along the ridgeline. He made it through, but the fear didn't stay behind with the bear. It walked the whole trail back with him. It's the kind of encounter that makes you realize how little control you actually have out there. Have you ever been in a situation in the wild where you felt like you were the one being watched? This footage comes from ParaQuest UK, a British paranormal investigation channel recognized for its measured and respectful approach to ghost hunting, along with live communication sessions using equipment like EMF meters, K2 devices, pendulums, and trigger objects. The recording was made on July 22, 2021, inside Pluckley Woods, a location commonly referred to as the Screaming Woods in the United Kingdom.
The other side?
No.
I've got the camera running everything, come on. Just think of the numbers.
I've survived for the last 48 hours, not getting injured. I want to keep it that way when I get out.
Adam?
Yes.
I think your screen's just cracked some more.
Don't look at it.
Is it? Well, have you aimed it at
I
Ricky?
can't tell by looking at it, but I definitely heard a crunch.
Why are you saying?
Oh, sorry. Sorry, Adam.
Well, I might sit on the log.
We'll be your friends. Angry.
Can you still see the other bits?
Well, if I pan round to there, yeah.
I'll move along. Oh, I'm going to get a wet bum. This is not a good idea.
I think it's fantastic.
Yeah.
Right, give me those rocks.
They're marvellous. I've got no signal at all.
Your meter's going.
1 metre.
Mm-hmm.
Excellent.
See. Okay, and I'd just like to remind any spirits, energies or entities that are here, we are out of the greatest respect for you. Just like to do a bit of communication, that's all. We are respectful. We mean you no harm. We are friendly. My name's Adam. If you like to communicate, if you like social communications, I'll have some devices sitting on this log. All they would do is light up and one of them will make a sound. Nothing will hurt.
Adam and the rest of the ParaQuest UK team worked their way through the woods carefully, navigating thick mud and uneven ground that made the going slow. They settled on a fallen log as their base point, set their gear down, and got everything positioned. Adam addressed whatever might be present, making clear that the group was there with respect and had no intention of causing any disruption. The woods pushed back with their usual sounds, but nothing out of the ordinary came through in those early minutes.
Detection to tell us, give us a sign, give us some sort of indication that you'd want to come and talk to us. Okay, so with that in mind, I'm going to switch my K2 on, see if we can get any, can you see that?
Entity present.
Okay. Any entities that would like to step forward tonight, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do so now.
Continue.
Okay, I'm going to give you the opportunity to do so now, to come and talk with us. As I just said, we are friendly, we are respectful, even Ricky. And all we'd like to do is just to have a bit of communication, that's all we're asking. Alright, and as I said, my name is Adam. Okay, I also have a little device on the log here. This will help for any communication. Okay, if you want to give me a name or some description for this little box. Pardon?
Killer.
Killer. Have you got your pendulum tonight, Tina?
I do.
Wonderful, okay.
Died. Can you give me a name?
Okay, if there's any spirits here that would like to step forward and give us any sort of signs, I've got 3 of these little balls, and they light up when you touch them. Okay, can you see that?
Yeah.
They will light up when you touch them. Okay, so we're going to give you the opportunity tonight to come and give us some indications that you're willing to communicate with us.
Is that Dean? Is your name Dean?
The K2 meters and trigger objects were powered on, and Adam extended an open invitation for anything in the area to step forward and make contact. The devices responded here and there, but nothing that sustained itself into a real back and forth.
Sounded like essence. Oh, essence.
Sounds like really?
Would anyone like to step forward? Is that your torch? Anyone that would like to step forward and come and give us an indication.
What date is it?
What's your side?
What date is it?
Mine said can.
What is it today? 15th.
Any entities that are present, I also have a little device on this log that you can talk through. Actually, no, you won't, because that's the SLS. I don't want to get anything. Try that. Okay, so I'd just like to remind you there is a device right in front of me. This will not hurt you in any way, shape or form. It's not harmful. It's just an aid of communication. Giving you any opportunity that you like to come forward and talk to us.
Heaven. Would you like to go to heaven?
I thought heaven was a place on earth.
Responses continued to come in fragments. Some of the signals were ambiguous enough that they could have pointed in several directions, and the team couldn't pin down a clear meaning. As the session pushed further along, the equipment began registering something that read as agitation.
If you're angry at one of us for being here, can you give us a sign?
Why are you angry?
Always.
Well, what do you mean by that?
What did it say, Adam?
Always.
We're always angry.
Jungle, this is like jungle.
Adam pressed into it, asking what was causing it and who it was directed at. The atmosphere shifted noticeably, sitting heavier than it had at any earlier point in the night. He acknowledged the inconsistency of the session, the vague and scattered signals from earlier giving way to these stronger, more charged responses later on. The team kept their composure throughout and wrapped up without arriving at any definitive answers, though the feeling they carried out of the woods with them suggested the place hadn't fully settled. If you were in those woods that night, would you have stayed until you got a clear answer? The next video comes from the Flex Tapes, a UK-based channel built around immersive overnight explorations in woodland settings. The date was May 7th, 2022, and the location was Cannock Chase Woods in the United Kingdom. The group arrived after dark and pushed into the woodland to set up camp along a path. From the moment they got there, the environment worked against them. Trees packed tight, visibility close to nothing, and anything beyond the reach of the firelight completely swallowed by darkness. As they got settled, the conversation drifted toward what the location was known for: the sightings, the unexplained activity, the stories attached to it. Nothing had happened yet, but the weight of expectation was already sitting on the camp.
Got the corner of my eye. Oh, REM pod. REM pod.
That's movement. Movement sensors going off.
What direction?
We don't know.
Oh.
Right, so the REM pod is going off over there now. It is blinking. Did it go? It'll come back on.
Keeps going off.
It went off for a good solid period of time then.
Then something caught their attention. A brief flash of light appeared near the tree line, indistinct and gone almost immediately, but noticeable enough that it couldn't be brushed aside.
Seems to be happening here, so we might as well conduct something here straight away. Ideally, I didn't want to do it here straight away, but it seems like whatever's here is here, yeah.
Right, I'm going to quickly change my battery.
And we have come to make contact. My name is Dan, and I mean you no harm at all. Just like to communicate with yourselves, whoever you are, the black-eyed children, the werewolf, or whatever else lingers in this forest.
Then it escalated. Out of the darkness came a growl, loud, close, and physical in a way that none of the earlier activity had been. There was nothing to see, but there was no mistaking what they heard. It was the first moment of the night that landed with any real weight. Everything shifted after that.
Torch out, so we've got more.
I'm half tempted to put everything in the car.
What, and just drive around and look for it? Well, what if, this is just a suggestion, we put everything away, so it's in the car and it's safe, and we go for a walk.
When you're fighting ghosts and people, yeah, ghosts. But when you're trying to fight an animal with instincts,
yes.
But when it's something physical, yeah. I'm thinking of pumas.
I'm thinking we should pack up all the gear, make ourselves easily escapable. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So we're not panicking if something happens. So we're already ready for it. Come back out, and then we can run back to the car if we need to.
I gotta apologise, guys. This has got me really on edge. I wasn't expecting this. Was not expecting this. This is the way that we're doing it. I did not expect this.
Right, I'm slowly going to put my gear away.
Whatever it was making like a loud purr, like a loud noise, like a loud grumble, like a warning noise.
Right.
The question stopped being what it was and became whether they were safe. They ran through the possibilities. Wildlife, something in the brush, something they had no way of seeing. And none of the answers felt comfortable. The uncertainty had become a threat. Gear was packed up fast, valuables were secured, and the campsite stopped feeling like somewhere they should be.
So guys, footage from here might be a bit crap. I just want to look at my trainers, but still. Come on, Jess, quick.
Watch my six, man, watch my six.
I am. Yeah, safety of the Q7, I think. What the f***? I don't know. Honestly. That's unexplainable. On so many levels.
The investigation was done. They moved back to the car, closer to the road, closer to a way out, and sat through the rest of the night from there. Nothing else came. But the tension never really left. The scariest part wasn't the growl itself. It was not knowing what made it. Some sounds in the dark have simple answers. This one didn't seem to. What would you have done? Stayed in the tent? Or got back to the car? That's all for tonight's video. Which encounter gave you chills? Let us know in the comments below. Got your own experience? We want to hear it. And whatever you do, don't miss what's coming next.